Lesson 5 in our Kingdom series, and this lesson is delicious. It is so good. Lesson 5 is the kingdom in parables. We're going to get into parables. The Greek word for kingdom in the New Testament is basileia. Basileia, which has two related meanings, and that is territory, the kingdom of God, the territory, and it is also authority. The authority, the kingdom authority. Okay? Kingdom equals the king's dominion. King's dominion. It's not just about geography, the area over which he exercises that dominion, but it's dominion and the power that the king exercises. It's rule and authority. Kingdom equals royal power. Dominion, rule, the right or the authority to rule and to reign. All right, kingdom. We're looking at kingdom in the Gospels. Matthew chapter 13. Verse 1, on the same day Jesus went out of the house and sat by the sea, and great multitudes were gathered together to him, so that he got into a boat and sat. And the whole multitude stood on the shore. Then he spoke many things to them in parables, saying, behold, a sower went out to sow. And as he sowed, some seed fell by the wayside, and the birds came and devoured them. Some fell on stony places, where they did not have much earth, and they immediately sprang up because they had no depth of earth. But when the sun was up, they were scorched, and because they had no root, they withered away. And some fell among thorns, and the thorns sprang up and choked them. But others fell on good ground and yielded a crop, some 100-fold, some 60, and some 30. He who has ears to hear, let him hear. And the disciples came and said to him, why do you speak to them in parables? He answered and said to them, because it has been given to you to know the mysteries of the kingdom of heaven. Right, we're looking at kingdom. Why do you speak to them in parables? Because it's been given to you to know the mysteries or the secrets of the kingdom of heaven, but to them it has not been given. For whoever has, to him more will be given, and he will have abundance. But whoever does not have, even what he has will be taken away from him. For whoever has what? Whoever has what? The knowledge of the secret of the kingdoms. The mysteries of the kingdom. Whoever has some knowledge, to him more will be given. And he will have an abundance. When it comes to the kingdom, there's an abundance to learn. The more you desire to know, the more he'll give you. If you have and you desire, he'll give you more. And he'll continue giving more as you continue desiring until you have this abundance. Remember back in lesson 1, our first lesson on kingdom, we covered the Beatitudes. Matthew chapter 5 verse 3. Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. ERV said, great blessings belong to those who know that they are spiritually in need. God's kingdom belongs to them. If you know you have need and you're hungry for more, He gives more. So you get a little bit of knowledge, secret knowledge about the kingdom of heaven. If you receive it, He gives you a little more. The more you get, the more you desire, and the more you receive. We're going to answer some questions tonight. Why is it that some people can see the kingdom? And why is it that some people can't? Well, for whoever has, verse 12, right? To him more will be given, and he will have abundance. But whoever does not have, even what he has, will be taken away from him. If you don't desire the secrets of the kingdom, He won't force it on you. He gives, and if you don't desire more, He'll take away from you what you've already received. He gives you a portion. If you don't embrace it, He'll take away what you've already had. This is why some folks don't catch kingdom knowledge. The secrets of the kingdom, the mysteries of the kingdom. Because when they receive a portion, they don't desire more. So God just says, I'll take back what I gave you. But if you want more, He'll keep giving more. He'll keep giving more. He'll keep giving more until you have an abundance. Therefore, because of this, therefore I speak to them in parables, because seeing they do not see, and hearing they do not hear, nor do they understand. I've asked the question, how can they not see this? I've asked the question, how did I not see this? It now seems so plain and so clear in the Word of God. How is it that they don't see this? It's not because they're blind. We're answering some questions right now. It's not because they're blind. He didn't say that. He said they don't see, or they will not see. They won't see. Because seeing, they do not see. Hearing, they won't hear. God's only going to answer questions that you ask. If you don't desire, God doesn't answer. But if you ask, you'll receive. If there's no desire, you won't receive. Let's jump back to the Beatitudes again. Matthew 5 and 6. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst after righteousness, for they shall be. That's what God responds to. He responds to hunger and thirst and desire and openness. If they don't see, watch this. It's not because they're blind. He didn't say they're blind. If they don't see, it's because they've closed their eyes. There's a difference between being blind and closing your eyes. If they don't hear, it's not because they're deaf. It's because they've stopped up their ears. They're not ignorant. They've closed their mind to revelation. This is what Jesus is saying. Verse 14. And in them, again, this is, therefore I speak to them in parables, because they do not see, and hearing, because seeing they do not see, and hearing they do not hear, nor do they understand. And in them is the prophecy of Isaiah fulfilled, which says, hearing you will not, or hearing you will hear, and shall not understand, and seeing you will see, and not perceive, for the hearts of this people have grown dull. It wasn't a hearing problem. It wasn't a seeing problem. It was a heart problem. Their hearts have grown dull. And because the heart is dull, they don't hear and they don't see. For the hearts of this people have grown dull, their ears are hard of hearing, and their eyes, what's it say, church? Are they blind? Their eyes, they have closed. This is kingdom preaching. This is kingdom teaching. Jesus, why are you speaking to them in parables? Because if anybody desires the kingdom, I'm going to give them more and more and more. But if I give them and they close their heart and their mind to it, they become dull of heart, I'll take away the little bit that they have. Their eyes they have closed, lest they should see with their eyes and hear with their ears, lest they should understand with their hearts and turn, so that I should heal them. But blessed are your eyes, for they see, and your ears, for they hear. For assuredly I say to you that many prophets and righteous men desired to see what you see, and did not see it, and to hear what you hear, and did not hear it. Therefore, because of this, hear the parable of the sower. When anyone hears the word of the kingdom, when anyone hears the word of the kingdom and does not understand it, then the wicked one comes and snatches away what was sown in his heart. This is he who received the word by the wayside. Remember, the birds came, snatched it up. But he who received the seed on stony places, this is he who hears the word and immediately receives it with joy. Right? There was just a little bit of earth covering the stone. Yet he has no root. What? This is a personal problem. It's a personal issue. The problem was there was no root in himself. There was no depth in themselves. Yet he has no root in himself, but endures only for a little while. Listen, they hear the word about the kingdom. This was very relevant for Jesus at this time. This is still relevant for us. Honestly, in 2025, there's fewer folks that know that the kingdom is here than did when Jesus was preaching the kingdom of heaven's at hand. Yeah. All of Christianity, all of religion has bought into a system that says the kingdom is somewhere in our future, in the sweet by and by. Yeah. And the kingdom isn't even going to involve the church. The church is going to get raptured. And then Jesus is going to come back to earth 7 years later and set up the kingdom with the nation of Israel. Don't worry about the kingdom. It's not in your future. You're going to go to heaven. There's more blindness to the kingdom of God today than there was then. He hears the word about the kingdom and immediately receives it with joy. Verse 20. It's exciting. Yet he has no root in himself, but only endures for a while. For when tribulation or persecution arises because of the word, immediately he stumbles. Now he who received seed among the thorns is he who hears the word, and the cares of this world and the deceitfulness of riches choke the word, and he becomes unfruitful. Right? He grows up. but so does thorns. And they grow up along with it and choke out. And he's still there, but he bears no fruit. No fruit. Verse 23, but he who received seed on the good ground is he who hears the word and understands it, who indeed bears fruit. That's the purpose of the seed. Is that it be planted in you and it bring forth fruit in you. Who indeed bears fruit and produces some 100-fold, some 60, and some 30. Yes.
When it talks about he indeed who bears fruit and produces, are they talking about like the fruits of the Spirit, bears
Yes,
and
certainly.
shows?
Certainly that. Also kingdom. Well, that's kingdom fruit, right? But multiplying I'll say this as well. He explains in another parable, in fact we might get there, but we will, that the word, that the seed was the word about the kingdom. In our next parable, he says the seed is men that he's planting. So men are multiplying and bringing forth fruit. So that's sharing. There's an increase of kingdom, right? So whether it's on a very personal level and you're bearing the fruit of the Spirit, and that's being presented in your life, or whether it's multiplying and you're one kingdom individual bearing forth other kingdom individuals, either works perfectly. But I do think it's important to note that everybody is not 100-fold ground. And farmers don't expect all ground to be 100-fold ground. Good ground. But he who received the word, who received seed on the good ground, it's all good ground.
Right.
Listen, 60-fold ground is still good ground.
Yes.
Yeah.
30-fold ground is good ground. If you're a 30-fold saint, don't be discouraged that you're not a 100-fold saint. You're still good ground.
Yeah. Amen.
You're still bearing forth fruit.
Amen.
You're multiplying. Still good ground. The parable of the weeds. This is so good. Verse 24, another parable he put forth to them, saying, the kingdom of heaven. What are we talking about? The kingdom of heaven. Is this talking about heaven? Sister Kimberly, is this talking about heaven?
Talking about the kingdom.
Is it talking about heaven? Or is it talking about a kingdom? Is there a difference? Here's the problem. Whenever we read the kingdom of heaven, we think heaven. Jesus is not talking about heaven. Jesus is talking about the kingdom that belongs to, the authority that belongs to heaven. That's what he's talking about. It's a kingdom, it's the authority, it's the power, it's the dominion that belongs to heaven. That's the Lord's Prayer. Our Father which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. So where's the kingdom? The kingdom of heaven is a kingdom that's on earth that is doing the will of heaven, doing the will of God. That's what the kingdom is. We read this. I've been confused my whole life over some of these parables because I'm reading it as going to heaven. And I'm like, how is that heaven? Okay, I guess if you get choked out, you don't go to heaven. All right, if the weeds choke you out, you don't go to heaven. That's not what he says. You don't belong to the kingdom.
Can you explain that a little deeper? Because you lost me right
This isn't about a destination. It's about a kingdom. We belong to the kingdom of heaven here, now. Heaven is about a destination, a place we're going. That's not what Jesus is talking about. He's not talking about going to a place. He's talking about belonging to a kingdom. It's a spiritual kingdom. You can't see it. It's spiritual. But it's very real. It's very alive. And at that time, it was at hand. And his message was, the kingdom of heaven is here. Right? If it was here then it's here now. Right? We've forgotten that it's here. We lost it.
So it's a kingdom like us that understands on heaven, that's doing the will of God.
Yes. Go back to the very first. I'm not going to say this to embarrass you at all, but you totally missed the first three. And this is why this isn't going to make sense to you, because you missed the definition.
A whole lot of it, because you did explain some of
No.
it.
No. What I'm saying you missed was tonight's first three definitions. You didn't catch them.
I'm sorry.
You don't have to be sorry. Don't be sorry. Be different. No, don't be sorry, but catch it here. This is important.
Okay.
Back to the definition. The Greek word. The very beginning of this. We're talking about kingdom. The Greek word for kingdom in the New Testament is basileia, which has two related meanings. It means territory. It also means authority. So this is the kingdom of heaven. So it's the territory of heaven. The territory that belongs to heaven. That's been colonized by heaven. Thy kingdom come. Thy will be done on earth as it is in the spirit realm. Right? And it also is authority. So kingdom means authority. It's the authority of heaven. It's not just the territory of heaven, it's the authority of heaven. So the kingdom of heaven is the authority of heaven. Kingdom equals king's dominion. Kingdom means king's dominion. Kingdom. King dominion. Where is the king's dominion? It's here.
But does it mean all of these simultaneously, or sometimes it means kingdoms, dominion, sometimes it means territory? Is it all at all times, always?
No, it means both. There's a twofold purpose. However, primarily the word basileia is referring to authority and not territory. In the English word, we don't catch that. English kingdom for us really means a territory. Right? This is the kingdom of America. So we think it's the territory of America. It belongs to America, right? It's our constitution. It's the way it's this area. Kingdom means authority. So it's much more basileia. The primary meaning of basileia is not the area. It's the dominion and the power, the right to rule that area. So it's the right to rule this area. It's not just about geography, the area over which he exercises that dominion. It is dominion. It's the power that the king exercises. And then the last little definition we had was kingdom equals royal power. This is the kingdom of heaven. We're not talking about a place called heaven. The kingdom equals royal power. It's the power, dominion, rule, the right to rule, the authority to rule and to reign. Okay? Catch that, catch that, catch that. Matthew chapter 13, verse 24. Another parable he put forth to them, saying, the kingdom of heaven. He's not talking about heaven at all. He's talking about a kingdom. Dominion and spiritual territory. Okay? Is like a man who sowed good seed in his field. But while men slept, his enemy came and sowed tares among the wheat and went his way. But when the grain had sprouted and produced a crop, then the tares also appeared. So the servants of the owner came and said to him, Sir, did you not sow good seed in your field? How then does it have tares or weeds? And he said to them, An enemy has done this. The servants said to him, Do you want us to go and gather them up? But he said, No, lest while you gather up the tares, you also uproot the wheat with them. Let both grow together until the harvest, and at the time of harvest, I will say to the reapers, First, everybody say first. First gather the tares. What's the first thing that happens?
Gather the tares.
Gather the tares. Gather the weeds. First gather the tares and bind them in bundles to burn them, but gather the wheat into my barn. All right, now we're going to jump down to verse 34. All these things Jesus spoke to the multitude in parables, and without a parable he did not speak to them, that it might be fulfilled which was spoken by the prophet, saying, this is Old Testament prophecy, it's in all capital letters, I will open my mouth in parables, I will utter things kept secret from the foundation of the world. Then Jesus sent the multitude away and went into the house. His disciples came to him, saying, Explain to us the parable of the tares of the field. He answered and said to them, He who sows the good seed is the Son of Man. Jesus, I'm sowing good seed. The field is the world. The good seeds are the sons of the kingdom. I'm sowing men into the world. But the tares are the sons of the wicked one. Or the sons of the wicked. That's what the original says. Now I'm going to jump to King James. I want you to catch this. Let's look at the perversion. Here it is. Ready?
Yeah.
The enemy that sowed them is the devil. The harvest is the end of the world. And the reapers are the angels. And therefore, the tares are gathered and burned. As therefore the tares are gathered and burned in the fire, so shall it be in the end of this world. The harvest is the end of the world. The tares are burned in the fire. So shall it be in the end of this world. That's got to be talking about hell, right? Hell happens at the end of the world. What does the end of the world mean? What's this scripture? If you just read this right here, what's that mean to you? End of the world. The end of planet Earth, the end of everything, right? That's a corrupt translation. Somebody who wanted to manipulate and control people purposefully said, I'm going to corrupt, and I'm going to write a word in English that has a different sense from the original Greek word. When Jesus said, I sow men into the world, that's a word that means the world, the area around us. But when he says the end of the world, that's not the area around us. That's not the Greek word he used at all. He said, I sow men into the world. The translators take this word, when he says it's the end of the... He used a different word. But they just said, let's put world in here too. Let's say the end of the world. Here's what he actually said. The enemy who sowed them is the devil. The harvest is the end of the... What sounds more threatening to you? The end of the age or the end of the world? The reapers are the angels. Did Jesus talk about the end of the world? Did Jesus ever talk about the end of the world? No. There is no end of the world. There's no end of the world. He never spoke about the end of the world. He spoke a lot about the end of an age. They were looking at the end of the age. Verse 40, therefore, as the tares are gathered and burned in the fire, so it will be at the end of this age. Does Jesus know the difference between this age and that age? Could he have communicated the difference between this age and that age? Certainly. He said this age. You know what that means? He's referring to the age he is standing in at that moment. What age was Jesus born in? Did he live in? And did he die in? What age? The old covenant. Was it the church age? Was his ministry in the church age? Was Calvary in the church age?
Not until after
When's the birthday of the church, Sister Kimberly?
Calvary, after Jesus died on the cross and rose.
So that would be Acts? The book of Acts, chapter 2, like day of Pentecost, you're saying? You're trying to tell me that Pentecost, Acts chapter 2, is the birthday of the church? And that's after his death, burial, resurrection, and ascension? So when he says this age, he's not talking about the church age. Because he's talking about an age that he is standing in. Jesus never stood in the church age. If Jesus wanted to say that age, he could easily say that age. He's saying this age. The age he's standing in, which is the temple age, the old covenant age. Galatians chapter 4, verse 4. When the fullness of time was come, God sent forth his Son, made of a woman, made under the law, to redeem those who were under the law. Jesus was made under the law. He was born under the law. He lived under the law. He kept the law, and he died. He lawfully died under the law. They had a legal trial. Now, it was a corrupt trial, but they opened the law books and they said, we find you guilty of blasphemy. Here it is, under the law. He lived and died under the law. That age. So when he says this age, what age is he referring to? Therefore, as the tares are gathered and burned in the fire, so it will be at the end of this. The Son of Man will send out his angels, and they will gather out of his kingdom all things that offend, and those who practice lawlessness. Who's getting snatched up? Who's getting gathered? The tares. Remember, he said, first. Yeah, that's verse 30. Let them grow together until the harvest, and at the time of the harvest I will say to the reapers, first gather together the tares and bind them in bundles to burn them, but gather the wheat into my barn? Right? Therefore, verse 41, the Son of Man will send out his angels, and they will gather out of his kingdom all things that offend, and those who practice lawlessness, and will cast them into the furnace of fire. There will be wailing and gnashing of teeth. Here's our judgment. Here's our punishment. Here's our hell. Who's he talking about? Who was he saying was going to suffer that? Anybody in 2025?
Nope.
Anybody?
No.
It was only people in that age. Remember, he said, the kingdom of heaven shall be like. This is the kingdom we're talking about. The kingdom. He will cast them into the furnace of fire. There will be wailing and gnashing of teeth. Then the righteous. Watch this. What happens when the wicked are removed? For a period of time, there's righteous and wicked, and they're all growing together. Who can tell who's who? They're growing together. They had a similar look, right? They're growing together. And there's intermingling. There's Judaizers coming into the church saying, you got to keep the law. Paul's saying, no, you don't have to keep the law. The just shall live by faith. And they're saying, no, go back to the law. The church is being persecuted by the old. And so for a period of time, there's an intermingling. They're both growing in the same field at the same time. But then the wicked are removed, destroyed, burned in the fire, and that leaves wicked, plucked out, burned in the fire. That leaves the righteous alone, standing here. Watch what happens. Then the righteous will shine forth as the sun in the kingdom of their Father. I love this last line. He who has ears to hear, let him hear. Don't stop up your ears.
Right.
He who has ears to hear, let him hear. Receive it. And you receive it, and he'll give you some more. We're talking about kingdom. This parable right here completely debunks the rapture theory. Completely. I want to be left behind. Who was removed?
Right. The wicked.
The wicked.
Right.
Who remained?
The righteous.
The righteous remained, and they shined forth
Right.
as the glory, as the sun in the kingdom of their Father.
Yes.
Completely debunks the rapture theory. Let me just read through that again. From back to verse 40. And I'll just read through it. I want you to just catch it. Therefore, as the tares are gathered and burned in the fire, so it will be at the end of this age. The Son of Man will send out his angels and will gather out of his kingdom all things that offend and those who practice lawlessness, and will cast them into the furnace of fire. There will be wailing and gnashing of teeth. Then the righteous will shine forth as the sun in the kingdom of their Father. He who has ears to hear, let him hear. Then back to verse 30, comparing this. Then let both grow together until the harvest, and at the time of harvest I will say to the reapers, first gather together the tares and bind them in bundles to burn them, but gather the wheat into my barn. All right, we're going to move quickly. We've just got a few more verses. I jumped from the telling of the parable of the wheat and the tares down to the explanation. In the middle of that is verses 31, 32, and 33. And he actually gives two really quick, short parables in between when he first gives the parable of the sower and when he gives the explanation, or the parable of the tare and the wheat and the explanation of it. So let's jump back to verse 31. Another parable he put forth to them, saying, the kingdom of heaven, Brother Hostetler blessed us richly with something similar to this. Now, he covered faith as a grain of mustard seed. Jesus isn't referring to faith here, but the principle that Brother Hostetler shared with us is going to show here. Watch this. The kingdom of heaven is like a mustard seed, which a man took and sowed in his field, which indeed is the least of all seeds. But watch what happens. But when it is grown, it is greater than the herbs and becomes a tree, so that the birds of the air come and nest in its branches. The kingdom is like a tiny seed that is going to grow to the point, it's going to start out so small and insignificant, but it's going to grow until it's larger than all of the other trees and all of the other herbs, and it's going to be a tree that the birds come and roost in. Verse 33, another parable he spoke to them. The kingdom of heaven is like leaven, yeast, a tiny little bit of yeast, which a woman took and hid in 3 measures of meal, flour, till it was all leavened. A little bit of yeast, and it increases and grows and expands. The mustard seed, tiny little seed, right? The focus here is the kingdom is going to have a profound increasing ability. The mustard seed, increase, grow. The yeast, tiny little bit of yeast, 3 measures, but it's going to grow and grow and grow. It's going to ferment or leaven the entire 3. There's a profound increasing ability in the kingdom. This is what Jesus is saying. 2 more verses. Looking at the increase. Isaiah 9 and 6. For unto us a child is born. Unto us a son is given. And the government will be upon his shoulder. The rule, the authority. Kingdom, basileia. The rule shall be upon his shoulder. And his name will be called Wonderful, Counselor, Mighty God, Everlasting Father, Prince of Peace. Of the what? The kingdom of heaven shall be like a mustard seed, which is planted in the ground, in the field. But it increases and increases. It's going to be like a little bit of leaven, which the woman takes and hides in 3 measures of meal. But it's going to increase and increase. Unto us a child is born, a son is given, government upon his shoulder. His name shall be called Wonderful Counselor, Mighty God, Everlasting Father, Prince of Peace. And of the increase, expanding of his government, his authority, his rule, and his peace, there will be no end. Upon the throne of David and over his, come on, church, to order it and establish it with judgment and justice from that time forward, even
forever.
from what time forward? From the time of unto us a child is born, unto us a son is given, and his name is called. From the time his name is called Wonderful Counselor, Mighty God, Everlasting Father, Prince of Peace, from that time forward, his government is going to increase, grow.
Yes.
It said of the increase of his government, there's no end. Of the increase of his peace, there's no end. Upon the throne of David and over his kingdom, to order it and establish it with judgment and justice from that time forward, even forever. The zeal of the Lord of hosts will perform this. The kingdom. In the parables, the kingdom. It's growing. It's expanding. Unfortunately, Jesus didn't tell us about this, but the kingdom quit growing. The word says it's going to continue forever. It's going to keep increasing. Its increase, as of late, has been very minimal, if we can put it that way. Because those who have been called to administer the kingdom are waiting to go to heaven. Those who've been called to administer the kingdom are waiting to go to heaven. Those who have been called to administer his kingdom are obsessed with going to heaven.
Get us out of here.
His kingdom is going to increase forever. Here. And it started from the time he was called Wonderful Counselor, Mighty God, Everlasting Father, Prince of Peace. From that time forward, his kingdom increased. It expanded, it blew up exponentially in 70, shortly after. Well, all throughout the book of Acts. It's growing, it's spreading, it's booming. When the wicked tares are gathered up and bundled and burned, the righteous shine forth as the sun in their Father's kingdom. It's expanding, blowing up. That was 2,000 years ago. Somehow or another, in the last 2,000 years, that expansive growth has been stymied. It's time for the sons of the kingdom to again administer the kingdom. Right? Shine, yes. Let's shine forth as the Son in the Father's kingdom. That's our responsibility. We have a blueprint. We have a plan. We have a mandate. We can read it. Here's the mandate. This is what we're supposed to be doing. Let's refocus on what we're supposed to be focused on. Right? By and large, religious tradition is now obsessed with escaping this earth. Escaping this earth and going to heaven. Jesus was obsessed with thy kingdom come. Your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Let's focus on that, on making sure his will is done on earth. Proclaiming the kingdom has come. Let his will be done.